Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there are two groups who are advocating for medical marijuana. The one group, and I was pretty shocked at the number of them who were pretty upfront about it, view this as a major step in legalization of marijuana. Make no mistake about it. There's that group out there, and it's a big group. The other group are the folks who genuinely believe that this will be good. It will be good for people who suffer from medical conditions. They are sincere. They mean what they are saying. I would really like to be a part of that group. I wish that I could be a part of that group, because my heart goes out to little kids who are suffering with seizures. My heart goes out to them. My heart goes out to people who are dying of cancer and who they believe that this would be helpful to them. Mr. Speaker, my concern is that this is not being done right. It should be done in the same fashion as the representative had indicated. It should be done in the same fashion as every other drug. Mr. Speaker, we have an FDA. I, as a former cop, could not vote for this. This is in direct violation of federal law. I would not do that. As a former cop, I was always taught when I was a policeman that you either change the law or let's just do away with the FDA. Let's just do away with them. But it is against the law. It is against the federal law. Mr. Speaker, there's a list of groups here, and there are 40 groups. Pennsylvania Medical Society, the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Family Physicians, the American College of Physicians, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Neurology, the American Epilepsy Society, and the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. There's an additional 30 or so. These are medical professionals. This is what they do. You want me to get on board? You convince them that it's a good idea. If you can convince them that it's a good idea, then it's something I could seriously consider. As I noted a little earlier, I was a cop back in the 70s, okay? A long time ago. But you know what? That's the period of time when all this pot stuff started. That's when all this stuff started. And when I was a policeman, I saw friends whose lives were ruined by marijuana. Their lives were ruined. Now, you can tell me that marijuana is not addictive. You can tell me that everybody that smokes marijuana doesn't go on to do stronger drugs, heroin, cocaine. You can tell me that. But guess what? If you talk to a drug user, and if they're honest with you, those who are on the stronger drugs, guess what they're going to tell you? Guess what they started on? They started on marijuana. And they didn't get the high, and they didn't get the satisfaction. So what did they do? They moved on to a stronger drug. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. This is a dangerous drug. It is a dangerous drug, and it's a gateway drug. Make no mistake about that. I had a friend, young guy, family guy. He came into my office, and he was passionately opposed to this. He had 2 kids. He was passionately opposed to it. He brought along with him, off of the internet, it was an advertisement for California about medical marijuana. He said, can I use your phone? So I had my personal cell, and I gave him my personal cell. He picks up and he makes the call. The doctor's office answered the phone. He said, Doc, I'm from Pennsylvania. Now, this was on speaker. I heard this with my own ears. He said, Doc, I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm coming out there in June. I want to make an appointment. Well, you don't really have to make an appointment. You can just stop by when you get here. An appointment's not really necessary. He says, what about my medical records? Should I bring along my medical records? Well, if you want to bring them along, you can bring them along. If you want to bring them along, you bring them with you. He said, Doc, I got to be honest with you. I have high blood pressure. You know what the response was? You come on out, we'll take care of you. We got to do this thing the right way. We've got to do it the right way. I had a conversation with a drug expert. This guy's a drug expert. He works for a major police agency. He's a drug expert. So he was out in California, and he said, you know what? I think I'm going to see how difficult it is to get a medical marijuana card. He went into a doctor's office. He said the doctor's office was like a 12 by 12 room. There was somebody sitting at the front desk, and he walked in and he said, I'm here to apply for a medical marijuana card. And well, we need some identification. He pulls out his Pennsylvania driver's license. Got to be a resident of California. Oh. He said, how long have you been here? I've been here about a week. You only need to be here 48 hours. He said, why don't you just use the address at the hotel? Because to be honest with you, they don't really check it. So guess what? He used the address from the hotel. And what's your medical problem? He wrote on there, I have bad knees. I have bad knees. So he gets in to see the doctor. And the doctor says, what's your problem? He says, why bad knees? He said, does marijuana help you? He said, honestly, I don't know. I never tried it. He said, well, do you have swelling in your knees? He said, yes. He said, do you think it would help you? He said, yes. So guess what? He issued him a medical marijuana card. It cost him $130 for 3 months. And guess what else they gave him? They gave him coupons. They gave him coupons for 2 free units of marijuana and a pipe. Now listen, this is what scares the living hell out of me. We got to do this right. We got to do this right. Because, quite frankly, if you would have told me 5 years ago that the state legislature here in Pennsylvania would be making this vote, I would have told you that you were crazy. I am very concerned that we're going to be back here next session voting on legalizing marijuana. That's what I'm afraid of. That's scary stuff. Mr. Chairman, I will close and I will ask all of you who are supporting this legislation to do the citizens of Pennsylvania a favor. Make sure that we don't turn into a California, that we don't turn into a Colorado, and that we don't turn into a Washington, so that we become the laughingstock of this country. I ask you folks that are supporting this legislation to do that for my grandchildren, for your grandchildren, and for the people of Pennsylvania. Mr. Speaker, I ask for a no vote on this piece of legislation. Thank you.